What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Tommy Props channel. Now today I have a long awaited video I've been waiting a while to make, and it is the World Cup best bets and my predictions. Now we have just over a week to the World Cup starts, and I feel like there is so much value in the outrights that people are just completely overlooking. So I'm going to give you guys the best bets for today. I have three. The three I think are the best. I also have some, long shots here and there, but they're going to be saved for another video. Today I'm giving you the three best outright picks for the World Cup. So let's head straight on into it. So I'm going to start the video off with the basic one, the one I'm going to get out of the way because everyone's probably already thinking it, and it is Mbappe to be the top scorer at 6-1 odds, 7x decimal odds if you guys use that. For me, it's very simple, Mbappe is Mbappe. He's a big game player, he'll play every game, and he just does score a lot. Like, Mbappe loves the World Cup. And I roughly estimate you'll need around 6 goals, 7 goals to grab the Golden Boot, as has been the case for most of the previous World Cups. And I think Mbappe definitely does have it in the locker, especially with the extra game played this year. Now, with a good World Cup here as well, he can also become the all-time highest World Cup goal scorer, which again is going to give him extra motivation to be on the score sheet. And I mean, he doesn't even need the extra motivation. Mbappe scores for France regularly. It's just like something he does, I don't think there's any goal scorer in international football that has a record like Mbappe does in recent times. Of course, in the past, you have Cristiano Ronaldo, who's an absolutely ridiculous goal scorer at club and country level. But right now, I think the most inevitable goal scorer is Mbappe. And to get it at 7x odds for him to be top goal scorer, I definitely do think there is value there. I'm not going to lie. So across Mbappe's entire career, he has an average of 0.86 goals per 90 minutes at the World Cup, and he scored in his last 6 games in a row for France. Again, backing up my point, he's just inevitable for France. He's inevitable anywhere he goes in terms of goal scoring. But for France especially, he's been absolutely ridiculous in recent times. And to add to that, France actually have a rack in their second game, and he could definitely score, 2, potentially even 3 in that game if he gets on the, score sheet early on. I think, again, if he has a good tournament here, he can definitely put himself into the Ballon d'Or conversation. But the Ballon d'Or hasn't really been claimed by anyone in club football this year. Like, people could say, yeah, Dembele, if he wins the World Cup with France, he deserves a Ballon d'Or. But again, I don't think Dembele's been, excellent this season for PSG. Of course, he scored in the Champions League final. I'm not discrediting that. It was a penalty, though, and his performance overall was not a Ballon d'Or worthy performance in the Champions League this season. So what I'm saying is Mbappe definitely does have that to look at as well and go, okay, the Ballon d'Or, is up for grabs a bit more this season. There isn't really an outstanding player in the Champions League, so he could be there to grab it. And again, if we look at the people that could, win it instead of Mbappe, you have Harry Kane. But again, I feel like he's played a lot of games this season. People are overlooking this. He's not young now. He's played a lot of games. He's going to be definitely very tired. He had the Club World Cup last summer, straight into this season. He's played 60-odd games or something. Like, this is, not a younger version of Harry Kane. Although he is in his prime right now, I'd definitely say he's in his prime. Physically and fitness-wise, I don't know if he is in his prime. And again, Harry Kane for England is a complete different kettle of fish to Harry Kane for Bayern Munich. I feel like the Kane we're going to see for England, again, he's not going to be awful, but I don't think we're going to be seeing the numbers that we see him put up week in and week out of Bayern. At Bayern, he has Elise and Luis Diaz on either side, and for England, he's going to have Bukayo Saka, who's not in a great run of form right now, on one side, and Rashford. I'm not saying Rashford's bad, but it's not the quality of Elise, or it could be Gordon. Basically, he does not have the creative quality around him, Harry Kane, that he does have at Bayern. I feel like that's the main competitor against Mbappe at this World Cup for top goal scorer. So I think, that's probably the reason why I wouldn't bet Harry Kane. I think Mbappe, goal scorer-wise, is my top bet for the World Cup. So my second best bet outright for this World Cup, and this one may be, a bit going under the radar in my opinion, and it is Pedri to win the Golden Ball at 25-1 or 26 decimal odds. Now, Pedri has definitely gone under the radar because when people think of Golden Ball, they're thinking Elise, they're thinking Lamine Yamal, and I'm going to tell you the reasons why I don't think it's going to be them in a second. So, this is a cool fact here as well. Every Golden Ball winner since 1982 has reached at least a semi-final, and 17 of the last 19 across Euros and World Cups have reached the final. Again, it's pretty obvious why I'm picking Pedri here, because Spain should be reaching at least the semi-finals in my opinion. They are, in my opinion, the best team in world football right now, and probably in a lot of other people's opinions, along with France. But I do think Spain have that, slight edge. In terms of like personnel, yeah, France may have better individuals, but Spain as the team right now, I think they're a lot better. Well, not a lot better, but definitely better. And again, the Golden Ball is definitely more about the journey through the World Cup than the plain stats. As we saw at the last World Cup, Messi had an exceptional tournament. Mbappe put up more goals than him, but still didn't win the Golden Ball because it's not the Golden Boot. You've got to remember, the Golden Ball is more about the story, you could say, than the stats. So, Pedri, he won't sit there and score loads of goals. That definitely isn't his strong point. But he'll definitely rack up a few assists, I feel like, at the World Cup. He'll definitely be controlling the rhythm of the midfield now that Pedri's had now that Rodri's had, sort of a drop-off. I don't want to say drop-off because he's still an outstanding player, Rodri, but he's not at the levels he was at the Euros a couple of years ago. And I think Pedri is going to take over that role, dictate that midfield, and really carry Spain through the World Cup. We're talking about a 99th percentile midfielder this season across Europe's top 5 leagues. This is not a player to overlook. And I think like 25-1 is disrespectful. I don't think he's the favourite to win the Golden Ball. I think there's just value there. I definitely think he could win it. He's one of the few players that could. I think Lamine Yamal, if he starts every game, he'll probably be the favourite. But again, another reason why I think this Pedri pick is so good is because Lamine Yamal's obviously carrying that hamstring injury, which could definitely mean he could miss a couple of the games at the World Cup just to preserve him and give him for the later stages. And I feel like to win that Golden Ball award, you've got to be the heartbeat of the team throughout the entire tournament, through every game, which Messi was, obviously, in the 2022 World Cup. So, of course, people would say Harry Kane could be, a candidate for Golden Ball, but I just don't think under Tuchel's system he'll be anywhere near as, productive and good as he is at Bayern. That's the simple facts of it. I think, we're looking here at a player that is surrounded by completely different levels of talent. And I've mentioned that, previously when we were talking about the Golden Boot and Mbappe a minute ago. I feel like Kane is not the bet for this tournament. And he's shown time and time again that he doesn't hit them levels for England. Again, Michael Elise, a big favourite for the Golden Ball. Reason why I don't think he'll win it is because they have such a plethora of talent. Like, France have so many talented attacking players that I don't think he's a guaranteed starter, Elise. Like, he's probably going to be rotated in and out a lot. And to win the Golden Ball, you have to be the orchestrator of the team almost. And I don't think with the depth of France's talent, Elise could even be that. Of course, he has the talent to win the Golden Ball. I'm not saying he won't win the Golden Ball, but they have so many different options, France, that he's not guaranteed to be that main man every game. Again, Messi, I feel like Messi has a case for winning Golden Ball, but now he's getting a bit older, 4 years on from that World Cup win now. It's not, at that age, that's a big amount of time. I feel like he's going to be rested more and preserved, as the tournament goes on. I just think they're definitely going to make sure he doesn't get injured. I think, in the last World Cup, they relied on him heavily. And they probably will rely on his, insane ability again. But I feel like he's definitely going to be preserved more now he has that World Cup win. And he may not be as vital as he was for the 2022 one. I think that is the bet, though. Pedri for Golden Ball at the World Cup. Now, on to my third and final bet, and probably my favourite of them all. So my third and final bet is for Qatar to finish on 0 points, which is at 2.62 decimal odds, and Qatar to finish bottom of their group at 1.44 odds. Two different singles. Now, You're probably wondering why both. Now, I just think Qatar are the worst team at the tournament, and that's not just my opinion. It is backed up by facts. They are the lowest rated side at the tournament. They are 101st in the world, and across a lot of top analyst rankings, they are even lower than that. They are, not a very good side. Despite having Lopetegui as their manager, which, you'd say they're punching above their weight, it's a very good manager for obviously the level of side they are. They're still a very, very bad side. Their defence is a big issue for them, and they conceded 23 goals in the third round of Asian qualifying. We're not talking high levels of competition here. The third round of Asian qualifying, 23 goals, which is crazy. And it was the most in their group as well, which is, again, crazy being Asian qualifying. I'm not trying to knock down Asian qualifying here, but, we're talking about a different level of gameplay that's going to be played at the World Cup. And it was the worst of any team to reach the final stage, worse than North Korea. They had a worse defensive record than North Korea. So that is just saying a lot there. And then their underlying numbers are even worse than the stats there. So their underlying numbers are 1.13 XG a game and 1.135 XG against per game. They are not great stats. They are horrible stats. And again, it's just giving me more reason to bet basically against them in every game. You could take these outright, or you can just bet against them in every game they play in the group, whatever floats your boat. But they have a very tough group with Switzerland, Bosnia, and Canada. Obviously, Canada being the hosts. And I think the only way they're going to even get a point out of that group is from Bosnia. And Bosnia are a much, much, much better team than them. They have a much better squad depth. They performed a lot better in qualifying. And they are just a class above Qatar. And I don't mean to be rude to anyone from Qatar here. This is just me talking about facts. I think that is probably my best outright bet for the tournament. Qatar to finish on 0 points, and they're also quite generous on that as well. 2.62, and to finish bottom of their group, 1.44. I think out of any of the very low ranked teams in the tournament, I think Qatar is the best bet to say, okay, these will finish bottom of the group. People will say, oh, Curacao, it's their first World Cup, Cape Verde, this, that, the other. But I think if we're looking at stats only, Qatar to finish bottom of the group and Qatar to finish on 0 points are probably some of my favourite bets. But yeah, that's my 3 best bets for the World Cup outright. I'm going to be making videos every day leading up to the World Cup on my favourite predictions, my bracket predictions, all of that. So make sure you subscribe. I'll see you soon. Peace.